Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope everybody is out and enjoying their families, friends, whatever you are doing. I hope that you guys are having a fabulous, grateful Thanksgiving. Today I am going to be with my family, but right now I am pre-filming and I know this is going up on Thanksgiving, so I just wanted to tell you guys happy Thanksgiving. Today I'm going to be getting into how I blend my Pat McGrath eyeshadows. I know you guys have been asking and asking and asking for this video, and I feel like I have been so overwhelmed with so many releases that I didn't have the time to truly sit down and think about this and really get a good detailed video out for you guys. And today I've got time. I got time. That just makes me think of that meme, today I got time cuz, or something like that. I don't remember, but it's in my head. I'm going to be using my favorite Pat McGrath palette of all time today to show you guys in the demonstration. This is the Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. Absolute favorite, bar none, if you ever wanted to know. I do actually have all of my Pat McGrath palettes ranked in a separate video that I will leave a link down below, but I get so many questions on how I blend them because the mattes in here are not your typical, more powdery, easier to blend. I find these to be not difficult to blend. I like the way that these blend out personally, but Pat McGrath mattes have been a topic of discussion for sure. Some people love them like myself. I find them to be extremely pigmented. I love how you can get just really intense pigmentation out of them, but then they blend out seamlessly. I love them. And then some people have a really hard time blending them. I'm going to be showing you guys brushes and suggesting a few tips. I'm going to show you guys how I blend the mattes, and then, obviously I'll put on one of the toppers or whatever. On one eye, I'm going to do it how I would typically do it, and on the other eye, I'm going to show you what I wouldn't do, like brushes I wouldn't suggest. But I want to start off by saying that the brushes that I'm telling you I don't like to use with Pat McGrath Shadows are not brushes that I don't like. Specifically, I love this brush right here. This is the BDELLIUM Golden Triangle 785. I use this all the time. I love it for softer matte formulas that might not have as much pigmentation to them or are just a little bit more powdery. I can really fluff this into the crease, but I use this the most for setting underneath my eyes. Like today I have another one. This is the one I used today. You can see it's dirty. I used it underneath my eyes. I like to tap and then buff underneath my eyes for my powder. So I just set everything with this brush. I love it, along with a few other softer brushes. Another thing I don't like to use with Pat McGrath is the softer squirrel hair brushes from Wayne Goss. I love these brushes. However, I don't like them with this formula. So it's just something to consider. Just because you like a brush or a brand or anything like that, it doesn't mean it's great for the formula that you are using. I personally find that with Pat McGrath mattes in particular, you need to have a stiffer brush. I don't like anything that is too flimsy, whether it is synthetic or natural hair. So while I don't like this synthetic brush for blending out my matte Pat McGrath shades, a synthetic brush I would suggest is this one right here. This is from Linda HALLBERG Cosmetics. It's the number 304. And if you can see the difference, this one is a little bit stubbier and it's way more densely packed. So if you're wanting a synthetic brush that is going to really buff out those mattes, the 304 does an amazing job with it, while this one I don't particularly like. I love using Sonia G brushes. I love using Wayne Goss. REPHR, that is what I'm going to specifically try and use today, mainly because they have finally launched their site, and I'm going to talk about that more at the end. They have their site available now. You can buy brushes individually. You can get the set. If you did the Kickstarter, you guys should be getting your brushes soon, and one that I'm really excited about this one right here that looks like the 242. They made it because of me. This will be in a lot of you guys' kits, and I'm just excited to see what you guys think about it, but this one isn't on the site yet. Anywho, I'm going to get into all that at the end. Also, you do not have to use higher end natural hair brushes. Like I mentioned, the Linda Hallberg brush working really well. Another one that I absolutely love. Love, 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 love. You guys see me use this all the time. Is from ZOEVA. And this is a blend. So I believe this is synthetic and natural hair blend. And it's the 227 Luxe Soft Definer. This one is just stiff enough and then fluffy enough at the end that I can get an amazing blend out of it, and it's not an expensive brush. I'm going to leave a ton of links down below. Sonia G, Wayne Goss, REPHR, Linda Hallberg, the ZOEVA. I'm going to leave all of these brush links down below so you guys have an idea of what I like to use. Instead, I can't use every single brush that I like in today's video. It would just be, you know, a lot of washing my eyes and starting over. Just want to give you guys an idea of what it takes to make these shadows really work for you and blend out for you nicely. The very first thing you got to do is prime your eyes, you guys. I recently talked to a friend. You know who you are if you're watching this, and I'm 100% bringing this to you the next time I see you. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. I swear by this. I used to use concealer, and I used to use the paint pot. I do think the paint pot from MAC would be really great, but this is just my absolute favorite because it's tacky enough that it's going to hold on to the metallics that are in this palette and those glittery shades, everything like that, but it also is not going to be so sticky that you can't blend out your matte. So I have this all over my eye. I have it to cut out the bottom of my brow right here and then all over my eye. And I use this brush right here. It's from BDELLIUM as well. This is the 938 Blending Concealer, but I use this all over my eye, and I go all the way to the inner corner, all the way out to this edge right here. When I do my makeup first before my eyes, this part right here tends to get set because I'm using powder to set my face. I've already set my makeup, so this area right here is already set, and I would suggest doing that because if you have a little bit too much tackiness right here and you're not great at blending out, the edge can be a little rough. So I would suggest setting that area. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what else I do, because right now I don't have anything other than this primer all over. You don't want to have too thick of a layer. It's not going to set as well as it should because this feels like it has just a tiny, tiny bit of tack to it, but overall it feels like it's set down. So don't put down too much and don't put down too little. You can use your finger if you would like, but I like to go right underneath and clean up my brow, and then to use a brush like this, any brush, and I kind of press it in. And sometimes I will get a little bit of a crease right here. So I will make sure that's blended out as well before I go in with my shadows. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in, and we're going to get to work. The very first thing I'm going to do, because my makeup is already done, is add a little bit of powder. This is the Pound Cake Baking Powder from Huda Beauty, and this is just going to catch any fallout. Like I mentioned, I do not like to set my entire eye, but there are places that I do like to set, which is right underneath the brow right here, and then in this area right here. So what I'm going to do is take my MAC 252. Any brush will work for this, just whatever you want to use. And then BLANC Type from MAC. I dropped this palette the other day, and I think I broke at least 6 shades. Yeah, it was not fun. BLANC Type is my personal favorite. But again, you can use whatever you want. And I kind of like to go like this at the edge of my brow. And that's one of the reasons why I do this as well, is because I like to kind of lessen that harsh line, especially at the front of my brow. Make sure all this is set. And it will really help to diffuse anything that's going right up here. If you didn't already have powder on this area, you could take just a little bit of this and go right on the edge and make sure that you have that set. But like I said, I already do. I know I just added a tiny little bit, but I already have that area right here set. Now I'm going to go in right here. This is where I can get a little little bit skippy if I'm not careful. So having this set on this area really will help diffuse everything and make it easier to have a nice clean blend right around the edge. Notice that I'm not taking this on my eye though. I don't put anything in my crease, on the lid, or anything like that. If I see that I'm having any kind of creasage, I just go back in with either my finger or the brush. So that is what I'm doing right now. I'm just gonna make sure this is all tapped out. I didn't pick up any extra primer. It's just the brush to make sure everything is nice and even. Going into the palette, you can see there's no true really light transition shade, especially for my skin tone. So I'm gonna have to make one of these go a little lighter, and that's where the brush comes in handy. So I'm gonna start off with this shade right here. I just got a new set of REPHR brushes, so I actually have the names of them now. I'm gonna leave this one clean for later on so I can show you, but this is the REPHR number 15. This is what I'm gonna use today so you guys can see it in action, but I'm gonna suggest a few other ones. Remember to keep in mind your eye shape. So if you don't have large eyes or a lot of lid space, you're still gonna wanna use something a little bit more dense, but you're not going to want to use something as large. Like this one right here from GOSS. This is the number 17. I love this one, but I wouldn't suggest it for somebody who has smaller eyes. I would go with like the Sky set from Sonia G. She has an amazing set. This one right here is a part of it. This is a classic crease. And then I love this one. I was going to use this today and I forgot to clean it last night. This is the GOSS number 18. It is one of my absolute favorites to go in and blend out, especially starting off. And then this synthetic one from ELYSIUM, this is the ZOEVA brush. It is nice and stiff, so you can really get a great blend out of it. Like I mentioned, the HALLBERG one. And then this one is from STILAZZI, the L211. Love this one as well. But what I'm going to use today is the one from REPHR, the number 15. I am not somebody who taps off their brush. I like to dip into the product, get as much as I need, start off by tapping. So I will tap this right where I want it, which is usually always when I'm starting off with something that is a deeper color like this. You can see how dark it is. I prefer to stamp it on first and bring it down lower. And you can be sloppy with it, it doesn't matter. But then, as you have less product on the brush, that's when you start to kind of move it around. And I'm going to start blending it upwards. As you can see, this really does blend out because the brush is stiffer and it's a little bit bigger. I have a lot of space on my eye, so I have a lot of room to use a brush like this. If you don't, again, just go with something smaller. Even the GOSS number 18, I really would suggest. And you can see how well this blends out. I like to take it up and I just keep going in these little circular motions. So you can see I took that dark shade and made it into a transition shade. And I can go in and deepen it up if I would like. Right now, I'm just kind of making sure I blend it out. And I like to use circular motions. And the Anastasia primer did not grab a hold anywhere. Obviously, it's a little deeper down here. That's because that's where I started off packing it on. And then I wasn't blending out that area. And that's on purpose. I don't care to try and blend out this area right here. Because typically when I'm doing an eye look, this is either going to get covered or I'm going to deepen it up anyway. I'm going to go in one more time. Again, stamping first. And then I will start to bring it upward. And as you can see, there's like almost, I don't see any fallout with Pat McGrath. Bringing this all the way in the inner corner, just using circular motions. And I'm not doing this lightly. I don't have a really light hand. I am using the brush at the outer portion, so at the end of the handle, but I am adding a little bit of pressure to really make sure that I get this blended out. Now I'm going to go in with the brush that I don't want to use, which is the 785 from BDELLIUM. Same amount of product on the brush. I'm going to start on this same spot. I feel like you can kind of see right away that you don't get as much laid down. I'm going to start trying to blend this out. You can see it's patchy. And this is immediately what I think of whenever I talk to anybody and they're like, I feel like the shadows are patchy. This is one of the reasons why I always talk about brushes. So I'm doing the same amount of effort. I picked up the same amount of product, and this is a little patchy. I'm going to go in again. I'm doing the same thing, just blending, and I'm using the same amount of pressure. Put in the same amount of work, and you can see this one is much smoother, whereas this one, even on the outer edge right here, everything is just, it doesn't move as well. You can see it doesn't move, whereas on this side it blended out very easily, and I can't get it to move with this brush. So that's why I don't like to use anything too soft or too flimsy. Now I'm going to take the purple on a REPHR number 1. Again, I did not tap off the product, and you can see this one is a little bit more pinched, but it's still a very dense brush. I am going to pack this on the outer corner. I'm going to bring it into the crease. That's what I like about this one, because it's pinched, it goes into the crease really nicely. And it also can pack on the color. Then I'm going to turn my brush to the side and start blending upward. Again, you can see very easy to get it to blend out. It gets effortless. I like to kind of take this type of motion right at the outer edge. It's like almost a sweeping motion. Just make sure that I get it right at the outer corner. I'm going to go in with the same color on a LUXIE 205. Starting off by tapping it on the outer corner. So this taps on really well. Let me try and get it into the crease. Trying to blend out this edge. It's going to take me a little bit longer. I just don't think that this one is as smooth as what the other side is. REPHR 14 and this shade. I'm going to take this and just tap it right on the outer V again. I'm going to bring it into the crease. You get a lot of pigmentation with this shade. Do small little circular motions. Blend it out, but I don't want to cover up the purple. Same color, LUXIE 237. So like you can tell right off the bat that that did not lay down the product as well as the other brush. Go ahead and take it into my crease. I'm using the same circular motions and everything, but I'm not getting the pigmentation or the blendability. Like this side just looks so much more dramatic. Feel like initially it's like, okay, well maybe, but then as you move on, you can see the difference. And I could certainly spend more time and more time and more time to really try to get these brushes to work. I can make just about any tool work if I really want to, but it does require more time. So I'm just showing you a side by side with the same amount of time and the same amount of product. This side is definitely more blown out, it's more blended, it's more impactful, there's a lot more pigmentation there, whereas this side, I wouldn't say that this looks terrible. I feel like it's almost hard to make Pat McGrath Shadows look terrible, but I feel like you can see there's just not the same amount of definition. I do have a little bit of patchiness right here, and then it's not as blended on the outer corner as it is on this side. This one was really hard for me to get that color to blend out. So here we are so far. Now when it comes to the metallic shades, the glittery shades, you can use your fingers. I feel like just about any brush will work for this except for something that is too fluffy. You don't, but that even works because you can use something fluffy and have just a sheer nice wash. So I'm not really focusing on the metallic shades. I'm just going to show you what it looks like with a preferred brush of mine. I'm going to use the ELYSIUM 21 for the lid. I love this brush so much, but then you could use, if you have the original MAC 242, that is one of my absolute favorite brushes, but the new one is not as good. This is the P21 from REPHR, which is what I asked them to create. And then I really love the Sonia G Builder 3 to pack on the lid as well. But like I said, I'm going to go in with the ELYSIUM brush. I'm going to take this shade right here. I'm just going to pack this on the lid, and I am using this dry. I like to use tapping motions first and then swiping motions. These shades will give you fallout. 773 Golden Triangle from BDELLIUM. I will have to pack this on just a little bit more, but I can still get the same effect with this brush. Or at least similar, because this one's not even doing as well. That ELYSIUM brush, oh, it just does so well. I did pack on this side, but I'm packing on this one as well. Honestly, I was not expecting this result. I expected this to go the same, and I'm not sure if it's, you can see it on, I think you can see it on camera, because I can see how much more vibrant this one is than this side. That's interesting. I was not expecting that. I mean, I know I love that ELYSIUM brush, but I just wasn't expecting this. Anyway, that is the difference between those two brushes. I'm going to go ahead and go in with my P21 from REPHR and this shade right here. I'm going to use this to highlight the brow arch. I really love this brush I like this brush to clean up underneath my brows. I love this for metallics on the lid. I love this for the brow arch. It's just one of my all-time favorite brushes, even when I was really loving the 242 from MAC, and I still love the 242 from MAC. However, like I said, they switched everything out. It used to be a natural and synthetic hair combo, and now it's all synthetic, and it does change the brush. This one is a natural and synthetic combo as well. It's just perfection. On this side, I'm using a Royal & Langnickel BOM 42. Yes, it's a 42. This one is just going to make it a little bit softer. So this one's a little bit more intense. Again, I'm not sure if you can see on camera. Then this one is just a little bit softer because this is a fluffy brush. Moving on to the under eye, I'm just going to fluff some of this away so we give both sides a fair chance. There's so many brushes that I love for the lower lash line. I was just looking for my Wayne Goss number 20 and I can't find it, so I'm just going to show you these right here. These are my go-to. So Sonia G Pencil Pro REPHR number 3. I love this brush. I used it in yesterday's video. This is the REPHR number 13, very similar to the Wayne Goss number 20. And then the Wayne Goss number 5. I love pencil brushes, and then fluffy, shorter stacked brushes for the lower lash line. Wayne Goss 27S, that is a synthetic brush. I think I'm going to go in with the REPHR number 13. This is the original shade we used. And again, this is a pretty dense brush. It's fluffy, but it's dense. You can see that I applied that shade effortlessly, and then I can go right along the edge, just blend it out. I also really like the Royal and Langnickel BOM 48 smudger for underneath the lower lash line. Just want to mention that. Ooh, and this is a new love, the NABLA defined crease. I love this for the lower lash line. And I just found my Wayne Goss number 20, of course. I'm going to go in with the 237 blending brush from LUXIE again. You can see I picked up the same amount of product. I'm going to dip in again. Got it on my brush. And it's just not as defined. It doesn't get as close to the lower lash line. So this is a really great brush to use if you're going to use a powdery formula or even a lighter shade, or if you wanted to go right along the lower lash, like underneath this color. But by itself, there is a difference in opacity and the amount of work I'm having to put in to get this color to really blend out as much as I want to. REPHR number 3, I'm going in with the purple. I love the Wayne Goss number 5 for this. Several brushes I love. There's a MAC one. Oh, what is it? The 212, I think. It's more of a flat one. There's one from Smith Cosmetics. This just gets right up against the lower lashes. Right up against it, as you can see. And that was one pickup from the pan. So you can see how well that laid down. BDELLIUM has a 718, which is, I think, even smaller. Yeah, it's just a tiny bit smaller than the REPHR number 3. And then I think the REPHR is just a little bit more pointed. You could use the BDELLIUM 48 for this as well because of the nice point that it has, but I like how precise the other one is. I'm actually going to use the BDELLIUM 718 on this side and show you how it works. Got the product on there. Now you have to keep in mind synthetic versus natural hair. This one isn't going to lay down as much product and blend it out right away. You're just going to have to put a little bit more work into it, but I do like this brush. Again, I like all the brushes that I'm talking about, but for specific things. So this one I'm going to have to drag it down a little bit to match the other side. This one is a little bit more pokey, whereas the REPHR brush is softer, like it feels really nice underneath the eyes. For the inner corner, I like to use something that is a little bit more flat. So this one right here is new from Sonia G, and it is absolute utter perfection. It's the flat definer. You can see it's really nice and pinched. It's a natural hair brush, and it's flat and small. So I'm really going to be able to get on the inner corner right here. I love the MAC 228. There's a very similar one to the MAC 228 from I'll just have to link it down below because I can't think of it off the top of my head. What I'm going to do is show you a pencil brush on this side for the inner corner, and then what this does on the inner corner on this side. So I'm going to go in with my favorite shade. I love this color right here. I'm just going to pack, see, it just boom, boom, lays it down. Thank you, ma'am. I'm just going to blend it out. And the reason why it picks it up and does it so well is because it's so flat. It just picks it up and then presses it in, and it's just able to work so nicely. For the opposite side, I'm going to use the BOM 420. This is a synthetic pencil brush. I love this brush, but I'm going to show you the difference between using something flat and how it applies it versus using something like a pencil brush on the inner corner. Just going to press this in. You can see when I add this, it just doesn't add it as well. Hold on, I'm going to pick up some more. I'm just going to press. That's a little better, but it still does not have the impact that this does. If you wanted to, you could go in and use this wet. I have it wet now. You can press it and that will make it better. So there's ways to make brushes work, but this is just my preferred method. I like to use things dry. I feel like a lot of times when you use something metallic and you use it wet, especially on the lid, in a corner not so much, but especially on the lid, if you use something wet, if you have any kind of fine lines, crepiness, or anything like that, it can become an issue and it can kind of crinkle up. So that's why I don't prefer to use anything wet on the lids. But this is the finished look. Hopefully you guys can see the difference in both eyes. That's how I like to blend my Pat McGrath matte shades. And yeah, I wasn't expecting this difference on the lid, but again, you can see that there's a difference whenever you use different brushes. Certain brushes pick up and lay down product differently. And like I said, I don't dislike any of the brushes that I talked about today. There's a specific formula and a time and place for every brush, in my opinion. Again, I'm going to leave down below a bunch of brushes, a lot of brushes that I truly love. I hope you guys can see this. I mean, I can see a huge difference, especially from far away. I feel like this eye looks so big, and I was not about to do liner or mascara or anything like that. I just wanted you guys to see the demo. And I just feel like this one looks like it was not a Pat McGrath. Can you see this? Like, this does not look like a Pat McGrath eye, where this, I feel like this one is, that's Pat. That is Auntie Pat, yes. Anywho, I want to tell you guys just really quickly about the REPHR brushes. You guys have seen me using them all the time in my tutorials. I'm always like P07A or P21, whatever, because I don't know the names of the brushes by heart. But now I have the brushes. This is the travel collection right here, and I've got the numbers on them. I'm so excited about this. And these are shorter handles, but a lot of times I don't like shorter handles because they're too short. These are absolute perfection. So if you're wondering about a great travel set and you like natural hair, and some of these I do believe are blends. Again, they did this whole thing where they reached out, sent out brushes, tweaked them, and really listened to people to make brushes that worked for everybody. And I love them so much. You can get them in matte black, you can get them in gloss, you can get all these different things. And if you choose to customize them, you can customize the length of the handle, you can customize the finish of the handle, all different things. If you decide to customize them, there is a wait. I think it's 10 to 12 weeks. Let me get on here. I screenshotted some of this because I knew I was going to misspeak. It's $168 and you're getting 6 brushes. Let me show you which ones. So you're getting the number 5, which is this one right here. This is so great for blush. You can use it for bronzer too if you have a smaller face. Like I said, this is the length of the travel version. You're going to get the number 2, which is like the MAC 239. Again, that's gone because it went synthetic. You're going to get the number 3. I used it today. Where's it at? Because my other one was dirty from yesterday. I have so many brushes right here. This one right here, I love this brush so much. This is what I used to get that purple right up against my lower lash line, and it just blends itself out. And what other numbers are in here? We have the number 4. This is the number 4. I just used this. It's a little bit dirty because I used it to take off the bake from underneath my eyes. You'll be getting the number 1. This is what I used to lay down the purple in the crease and on the outer corner. And then lastly, you're going to get the number 15, and this is one I use all the time in my videos. I used it today. This was the initial brush I used. I don't see it in my plethora of brushes, but this is the first brush I used to blend out everything. I love these brushes. I've been using them non-stop. Again, you guys have always seen them in my tutorials. I just love this brand. I love everything that they are about, and $168. But on top of that, you're going to customize everything, make it how you want it, the brush handle length, the look of the handle, all of that. It comes to you in 10 to 12 weeks, but you are going to get $100 after your purchase for the REPHR store. Amazing, mind blown. That is so crazy to me. So if you think about it, you're going to be getting this set, $168, customized to however you want them, and then a $100 card to use on the site. So you can pick out any other brushes that you want because they do have individuals as well. I'm going to be linking them down below. They have been so supportive to myself, Kelsey, Michelle Wong, so many people in the community, and I love them. I absolutely love them. I feel like I've been talking about brushes a lot lately, but I'm not mad at it. Brushes are one of my favorite makeup items. I just purchased Scott Barnes. Waiting for it. You guys have been asking me for a review on the brushes. I was waiting for his collection to come out, so I bought just about everything from that and his brushes, so you will see that as well. But anywho, make sure you guys check out the bottom bar. I'm listing a ton of brushes that I love, from more affordable all the way to higher end. I'm gonna have the REPHR site available for you guys. That is not sponsored, it's not commissioned, nothing like that. And then also, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful for you guys to really know how I like to blend out my Pat McGrath shadows. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Please remember, it is Thanksgiving and I will be with my family, so I'm gonna get back to comments, but it might just take me a little bit longer. I feel like everything's been taking me longer recently because, again, holidays. Yes. Anywho, I love you guys and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.